Hello and welcome to Saturday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic on an absolutely horrendous day of weather here in the UK. I was playing golf earlier on today and got absolutely annihilated by hail, rain, wind, and yes, it was jolly inclement. And it's meant to be the middle of June. Anyway, that is not what this video is about. This video is actually about a debut on the channel for Damo89, or it could be Damo89, and a puzzle called Yin Doubles Yang, which has been recommended to us many times, carries a 98% approval rating on Logic Masters Germany. I think 4 stars out of 5 for difficulty, and a really cool rule set based off Yin Yang rules and killer Sudoku. So this is what we're going to be having a look at in today's video, and I hope I'll be able to solve it. I hope I'll be able to solve it in time for this to become tonight's video, because it is now 3 minutes past 5 and I'm recording this far too late for comfort. Anyway, I will read you the rules in a moment. What do I have to tell you about before we do a few birthdays? Just a couple of things. Over on Patreon, there is still 5 days left to enter our incredible competition for the month. This is the Lord of the Rings Sudoku Hunt from Blobz. It is one of the best things, undoubtedly, we have ever published. It's a fabulous Sudoku hunt with amazing artwork from Ted Nasmith, and please do have a look at it and give yourselves a few hours, I would suggest, of great pleasure and joy. Other than that, we're also closing in on 600,000 subscribers. We really are closing in. I think we're about 1,000 subscribers or so short, which is not many when you consider that Mr. Beast sort of somewhat triumphantly noted he was only a million subscribers short of reaching 261 million subscribers or something recently. Yeah, we are just over 1,000 subscribers short of 600,000 subscribers, and if we get there, we're going to be releasing to the world a free Sudoku pack featuring puzzles by the likes of Fistamafel and Codec, and to celebrate what for us would be an absolutely remarkable milestone. So that was the other thing I wanted to mention, and I also have some birthday wishes to extend. So let me start off by wishing Kellen a very happy birthday today from your friend and roommate Tori. I think Kellen has turned 31, and Kellen got their Masters in Public Health back in December and is starting a new career. I'm not sure if you've started it already, Kellen, but if not, well, whether you have or not, I hope it goes fantastically well, and I hope you have a great birthday today with, of course, chocolate cake. Now, someone I know is not having chocolate cake is Illy. Illy's turned 26 today, and I know this because your partner Emily wrote to us, Illy, and explained that you are having Napoleon cake, which is a Russian cake filled with pastry, or made of pastry and cream. Now, I didn't know what a Napoleon cake was. I do watch the Great British Bake Off, but I haven't seen Napoleon cake cooked in it. So I looked it up, and it looks absolutely delicious. So I think I can fully approve a Napoleon cake. I don't know whether you can put chocolate icing on as well. That would make it absolutely exceptional. But Illy, many happy returns. Jackson, you've turned 26 today, and I know this because your fiancée Darcy wrote in and said you'd appreciate a shout out. She thought you'd definitely like a shout out because apparently you play our videos 24/7 on your TV. Well, I think Darcy's implication of that was on the TV the two of you share. So I just picked up the merest hint of angst about that. But Jackson, I think you're doing the right thing. Happy birthday for today. Cynthia, I am so sorry. It was your birthday on Thursday, your 30th birthday no less, and I failed to read it out. I'm so sorry. I hope you had a great birthday, and well done on turning the big 30. And then finally, Christian, I don't think it's your birthday, but your friend Daniel wrote to us saying I should wish you a happy stag do and a happy marriage to Elta. I presume, I don't know, well, maybe the stag do and the marriage are happening this weekend. I doubt it. Most people nowadays leave some sort of salubrious gap to allow a recovery. Well, Christian, I certainly hope you survive your stag do. I have heard of and been involved in stag do's that where the future groom has always survived, but not always been treated in the very best way. Anyway, I think you're from Georgia. Are you in Georgia at the moment? And Daniel's in California, or have I got that the wrong way round? Anyway, Daniel did describe you as the most brilliant guy he knows, Christian, which I thought was a very nice thing to say. And I hope you have a great stag do. And that's all of the announcements. Let's have a look at Yin Doubles Yang and see what debutante Damo89 has in store for us. These are the rules. It's now raining very hard again outside. Normal Sudoku rules apply. That means we've got to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. Yin Yang. Shade some cells such that all shaded cells are orthogonally connected, all unshaded cells are orthogonally connected, and no 2x2 area is entirely shaded or unshaded. So I'm going to do the shape I always draw to try and illustrate a possible yin-yang shading, which is this, sort of a great big E-type shape. So this would be a valid yin-yang shading. And let me explain... Oh, no, that wouldn't. Let me explain why. It's because if you look at the green cells, you can always go to... You can traverse the entire map of green by moving from cell to cell through green cells that share an edge with one another. So if we were to make that square green, the green region is no longer orthogonally connected because this cell only touches other greens at a point, and therefore it sort of spoils the piece. So this green area is fine. If we double click the yellow, you can see exactly the same is true for the yellow. And if we examine the grid carefully and draw and sort of think about all the 2x2s, you can see no single 2x2 contains just one colour, and that's also a requirement. So that is how yin-yang rules work. And then we've got killer, and it says values in a cage sum to the value in the corner of the cage. A digit in a shaded cell counts double its value to the cage total. So digits may not repeat in a cage. Oh, digits may not repeat in a cage, but values may. E.g., 4 and double 2 summing to 8. Is that a possible cage? Oh, I can't actually see a cage that does that. Okay. I'm going to struggle to find one that has that property, probably. I was thinking double 4 and 4 for the 12, but that would be ruled out for other reasons. No, I can't see one. Anyway, so how does it work then? So if this cell was shaded and that cell was unshaded, then whatever's in this cell would count double. So if that was a 3, then this would be a 6. Double 3 is 6, plus 6 is 12, and that could be a possible way of filling that 12 cage. I think that's how we have to make the rules work. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual, but now I get to play. Let's get cracking. Now I'm going to start by sharing some secrets with you, because there are important things to know about yin-yang patterns. The most important thing to know is that you can't have a checkerboard pattern in a yin-yang. So this would be an impossible pattern to draw in the grid. And the reason for that is this requirement that the two colours be orthogonally connected. Because you can see that to connect these two green cells together, it doesn't matter what route we take in the grid and how circuitous that route is. You're never now going to be able to connect this grey to this grey using an orthogonal connection without cutting across the wall of green that we've created. So that doesn't work. Now, a sort of corollary of that is that the perimeter in a yin-yang, it's either all going to be of one colour, that's possible, it could all be shaded, for example, or it can be, we can have one stretch of green in the puzzle, that's absolutely fine. But what you can't do now, if you had this pattern or something that approximated to it, i.e. a stripe of green in the perimeter and a stripe of grey around the perimeter, you couldn't then change that one to green. And the reason for that is it's a bit like an exploded checkerboard, what we've got now, because we still have the requirement we have to connect these greys together somehow. And again, however we do that, whatever the path looked like to connect the greys up, you can see this green will never now connect to this green, because to do so it will have to go through a wall of grey. So those are my two big secrets of yin yang. And so, right, and so actually from that, I can't see exactly how to start, but I can see approximately something interesting when I think about the perimeter, because this 19 cage here, well, okay, let me go through the chain of thoughts I had in order. What I was going to say is that there has to be at least one shaded cell. This is what I was going to say. There has to be at least one shaded cell in the 19, because the biggest digits we could put in this cage would be an 8 and a 9, and 8 and 9 only sum to 17, and that's less than 19, a knowledge bomb. So this has to have at least one grey cell in it. And I was going to say exactly the same thing for that 20 cage down there. Again, this couldn't be purely made up of unshaded cells. But then I've noticed something else. I can do better here. Well, I can do a little better. I can do better in the sense this can't be double shaded. Because if it's double shaded, each of these, the values that will be contributed to 19 by each of these cells will be an even number. Because if whatever you double, you get an even number, don't you? And 19 is not even. And that means exactly one of these cells is unshaded, and that unshaded cell will contain an odd digit, in order to make sure that once we add the odd digit to the even value contributed by the grey cell, we get overall to an odd value, which is the nature of 19. Now we can't do the same here. Now, okay. So the next job I'm going to claim, because we know there's a grey here, and we know there's a grey here, we have immediately a sort of choice, don't we, in terms of how the perimeter is shaded. Either, imagine the green. This I don't think this will work, but I'm going to show you what I mean. If this grey cell here is on top of the green cell, then to connect this grey to the grey that we know exists here, using the perimeter, which means that there must be one continuous or contiguous string of grey in the perimeter, we would have to do this, wouldn't we? Now that doesn't work, because that's going to double every digit in this 7 cage, and even this was 1, 2, 3. Well, 1, 2, 3 all doubled gives you a value of 12, not 7. So we can't go that way round. So I think what we're being told is that we've got to have green on top of grey. This grey is going to connect to the grey in here, around the perimeter, like this. Now, we've got to be a bit careful here, because we know this is definitely grey now, but we don't know the nature of this one. That might be grey, but it needn't be grey. Right, but there's more. There's more. Well, the most obvious point, I suppose, is that that's green. That's green to avoid a 2 by 2. But let's think back to this 7 cage. This 7 cage must have some green in it. It's either entirely green, or, well, you could double one digit in here. That's the most you could double. Because if this was 1, 2, 3 and you doubled the 1, you would get to a value of 7. But that's the most, so you can have one grey in here as a maximum. So some of this is green, and that must connect to the other green in the perimeter using a contiguous stretch of green. So all those are green. In fact, this one is green as well, because at least 2 of these 3 cells are green. And you can't, for obvious reasons, I hope, that's very clear. You can't do this because, again, now we've introduced another grey cell in another unit of grey in the perimeter that once we connect it to the rest of the grey, we're going to give ourselves a problem. So it's not that. This one we don't know. It's either green or grey. Although if it's grey, it has to be a 1. This is grey, to avoid a 2x2 of green. This is odd. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So this is, if this is 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9. There may be some... No, I don't think... I wondered whether there was going to be some possibility for an overlapping digit, but no. If that's 5, this is double 7, so that's okay. That's got to be odd as well, doesn't it? 1, 3, 5, 7 or 9. Exactly the same reason. It's just parity. These are going to add to an even number, or what I mean by that, the values that these 3 digits contribute to the 51 total will be even, because they're each individually being doubled. So that must be odd to get us to an overall odd total. 39, that's got to have some doublage in it. Well, 18. Yes. Okay, we can shade this one. Because not only can we say that it has to have doublage in it, what it can't be is 3 doubles. Because if it's 3 doubles, I've created 2x2s down here, so it's not 3 doubles. Could it only be 1 double? Well, if one of these cells is doubled, let's make it a doubled 9, that's 18. That would mean the other 2 digits have to add to 21. Well, that's impossible. So actually 2 cells in here must be doubled, but they can't be contiguous because that will create a 2x2 either here or here. So those 2 are both grey, that's green, that green has to get out, so that green goes there. These, now we have the opportunity to avoid 2x2s, so that's green, that's green. This green has to get out. Yeah, okay, so this 15 cage is one of each. Because it's not double green, that will create a 2x2. And it's not double grey, because then this green doesn't get out. So it's one of each, and it's going to be an odd digit in the green, and then an even, well no, then an even value contributed by the grey. Okay, now I'm getting a bit stuck. I like this so far though. It's very, very interesting. 49, that's a big number, isn't it? So there's got to be at least some grey in there, because these, if this was 6, 7, 8, 9, it would only add up to 30 if they were all green. 28, yeah, okay. 28 is double grey, isn't it? Because even if there was a doubled 9 in here, that would only be worth 18. The other digit still has to have a value of 10, so it has to be doubled. So that's doubled, and right, and those 2 digits now add up to 14. So they are 5, 9 or 6, 8, because both individually is doubled. I'm slowing down here. Hang on. That's got to be odd to get. There's quite a lot of parity in this. I like it. So, well, that can't be 1, can it? If that's 1, these 2 digits have to add up to 19. Because if this is a 1, the value contributed by these has to be 38. They're both doubled, so they have to add up to 19, so that doesn't work. If it's 3, then no, if it's 3, they have to be 18. That's still bad. If it's 5, they have to be 17. That would work with 5, 8, 9. 7, 30. 7 doesn't work. if that's 7, these have to add up to 16 and be a 7-9 pair, and you get 2 7s in the box. 9 would make these add up to 15 without using 9, so they'd be 7 8. Right, so these are either 7 8 or they're 8 9. So there's always an 8 in these squares. And there's always a 9 in those 3 squares, because the 9's either in the centre or it's in one of the wings. So this is not a 9. Now the 51 is... well, no, okay, the 51, that can't be a 1. Because then these would have to have a value of 50, which means undoubled, they have a value of 25, but 7, 8 and 9 only add up to 24. So there we go. So this is either 3, 5 or 7. If it's 3, then these are 7, 8, 9, aren't they? Because then these would be 48. They'd be 24 individually. There's quite a lot of pressure on that. If this is 3, and this is 7, 8, 9, this is 8, 9, this is 7. I don't know. I can't see why that's not okay. If this is 5, these have value. Then these are 6, 8, 9. So you still get an 8, 9 here. If this is 7, what do you get? 44, 22, 5, 8. Ah! Oh, that's beautiful, actually. Right. So the point here is not to worry about putting a low digit in this square. It's to worry about putting a high digit in this square. If this is 7, these squares have to add up to 22 because their value has to be 44. But 22, when you can't repeat a digit, so there can't be a 7 in this 22 sum. It has to be 5, 8, 9. And therefore this square would be a 5, 8 or 9. And I think we've got far too many 5, 8s and 9s in here now. Because once this is 7, this is 5, 8, 9 as well. So this square couldn't exist. So actually, this isn't 7, this is 3 or 5. And there's definitely an 8, 9 pair here now. Because this is either 6, 8, 9 or 7, 8, 9, depending on what this is. Depending on whatever that is. So it looks like we're trying to create some sort of high string of digits in row 8. And that 15 now, that 15 had one doubler in it, didn't it? Which now can't... Well, it could never have been an 8 or a 9. What are you talking about, Simon? But it does have a doubler in it, this. Yeah, it's okay. So it also has an odd digit in it. Yeah, so whichever one of these is green is odd for this exactly the same reason we've been looking at all the time. Whenever you're summing one of these cages that contains both colours in it, whenever you're summing to an odd digit, the sort of unshaded portion of that will have to sum to an odd number. So this can't have 9 in it, so it could have a 7, a green 7 in it, and then you'd need a double 4, a green 5, oh no, green 5 doesn't work. Ah, okay, so this was the example I could have done earlier when I was doing looking for an example. If this was green, well no, it's similar to this one, isn't it? If this was green 5, then it has to have double 5 as well to reach the value of 15, and you'd have 2 5s in the box. So the green digit here is now, it's not 9, it's not 5. If it's 3, we need double 6, which would make that 7 5, which doesn't work. That doesn't work. If this is 7 and 5, these squares are all selected from 8 and 9. So this is not 3 as the green digit. If it's 1 as the green digit, you need 14 from the doubler, so you need double 7. So, oh, that's lovely. That is lovely. So there's always a 7 in this cage. Because it's either green 7 with double 4, let's put that in, green 7 double 4, or it's green 1 with double 7. So this is a sort of snooker maximum option. It's from 1, 4 and 7, but definitely includes a 7. And that makes this little square equal to 6. And if this little square is equal to 6, these have a value of 23. Doubled is 46. This is a 5. That's a 9. We get a 7, 8 pair in box 8. That's not a 6 anymore. So 6 goes with 7 here. These squares are all low digits. So something's going on with the 9 cage now. Oh, this is... Yeah. It's... What I really admire about this puzzle is it's got a theme. And the theme is very... It's sort of not obvious until you start solving it. And then you realise that the theme is all about odd numbers and how you get to them when you have doublers involved in the puzzle. So how do you make... You can't make this 2 greens because 4 and 3, which is the maximum these cells could be, don't add up to enough. You can't make these both grey because if you make them both grey, they should add up to an even value overall, and they don't. And that means that one of these digits is green and one of them is grey, and the green one has to be odd. Well, 1 would go with a doubled 4, that's fine, but 3, a green 3 would need to go with a doubled 3, and that won't work. So this is a 1-4 pair. Which means, right, it means that's not 1-4, that's not 1-4. But do we know the order? This is one of each. That's one of each as well. If this was green... Oh, hang on, I've seen something else. I've seen something else which is going to be helpful. Okay, I'm going to tell you the thing I've seen. This is not now... Well, this is grey, actually. Because this can't be a 1-2-4 triple, because it would break this square. This is gorgeous, isn't it? So that's grey. Now, this must be a 1. This must be a 2-3 pair. 1 doubled is 2, plus 5 is perfect. This now is a 4. This is a 1. 4 is... Well, actually, we could... Yeah, 4 is doubled, but we could have worked it out from this being grey. All the greys, don't forget, have to connect around the perimeter. So that's green by dint of either 2x2 logic or mathematics, whichever you prefer. Okay, these two squares are adding up to 10 now, and they're not 8-2 or 9-1 or 4-6, so they're 3-7. We can do the order. This is a 2, this is a 3. That digit is either... Well, that digit is an 8. Because if it's not an 8, it's a doubled 4, and we've already had a 4 in the box. So it's a green 8, avoid a 2x2, make that grey, avoid a 2x2, make that green. Look at this. Avoid a checkerboard, make that green. Avoid a checkerboard again, make that green. And avoid a 2x2, avoid a 2x2. Avoid a checkerboard. Look, oh, this is lovely. So now, my 49, it's the same thing again. It's the same thing. 49 is an odd number. Those three are going to have an even value. So what's that? It's got to be a green digit, and it's odd. Let's actually write that in. And this digit, to avoid a checkerboard, is green. That's grey to avoid 2x2. This is green to avoid a checkerboard. That's grey to avoid a 2x2. So this 12 is different. This is the first even number we've had that's been of 2 digits. So now this square is even because but actually maybe let's hold off on this, because 9 is coming out of these, and those had to add up to 14. So this is 6, 8. Now this is even, so it's 2 or 4. To avoid, well, to make sure that this overall adds up to an even number once this gets doubled. So now we can work out the values of this. If this is 2, this is double 5. If this is 4, this is double 4, and that doesn't work. So that's 2, that's 5. This square is no longer 5. We probably need to think about these 3 values in a minute, but let's just see if we can do any better. That digit is, don't tell me even, it is even, isn't it? If this was odd, this would have an overall odd total, so that's even, and it's not 2, 6, so that's beautiful. It's 4, and 4 means this has to have a value of 6, so that's double 3. Our snooker maximum loses its 40 component and becomes a 1, 7 pair. These squares are going to be 2 and something. 2 and 4. Which we can do, actually. That's 4, that's 2. This grey makes me think it's like fog of war Sudoku. I keep expecting to see sort of things clear as a result of putting digits into it. What about this column? 1, 3, 7 into these gaps. Well, actually, that's a 1 at the bottom, I've just noticed. So 3 and 7 into those squares. In this box, we've not put in 2, 5, and 6. That's no use, I don't think. So 2. Let's fully pencil mark it. Be good. Oh dear, that really didn't work at all. So these are from 5, 6, and 9. That square is from 5 or 6. And we get stuck. Bobbins. What about this square then? Do we know what that is? If that is, if that's doubled, that feels, oh no, it does work. Oh, that's vicious. Right. Okay, let's think about this. If this is doubled, then it either has a value of 6, which means this has to have a value of 10, it would have to be double 5. That doesn't work. Or it has a value of 14, which means this has to have a value of 2, which I was about to say doesn't work. But what about if this was grey and was a 1? Then it would work. So I can't rule that out from being thingy. The technical term for thingy being grey. Okay, but if this is grey, this is 7 and 1. So that is a 1. If this is green, it's odd. It's contributing an odd number. So this is also odd. So it couldn't be. Yeah, so if this is green, this is green. If this is grey, this is grey. So these are both the same. And I want to say they've got 7 in them. I might be wrong about this. I'm going to check that logic, because if this is a green 7, that has to be a 9 to get to 16. And if this is a green 3, it can't get to 16, because this can't be a double number. So this is either 7 here. Oh, hang on, I know I've lost my marbles. I think I put 7 in there. I meant to put 9 in there. Let me do this again. This is if this is shaded, then that must be a doubled 1. If this is unshaded, it must now be a 7-9 pair, and that would be the 9. Yeah, okay. So this is 1 or 9, and that what I said before was total nonsense. I was thinking there had to be a 7 in there. I was going to get rid of a 7 here. It's not true. Hang on, how is this ever 3 then? This is never 3. This is actually just 7 by dint of maths. Okay, so maybe that's the thing was sort of subconsciously pricking at my brain. the pricking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes. Anyway, sorry, getting distracted. So I don't know the colour of this, but I know that's 1 or 9. I don't know its colour. And that is not 7. So this is 1, 3 or 9. Now if this is 1, those have to add up. Those have to be doubled 7, 8, 9, which doesn't work. Oh no, no, it doesn't work. It doesn't work, but that's actually more complicated than my brain had appreciated when it said it didn't work. If this is 1, these are 7, 8, 9, and this is a 9, but the point is this is a 7, so that square would have to simultaneously be 7 and 9 and be a Schrödinger cell, and that won't work. So this square is not 1. Now if this is 3, well actually I can tell you it's not 3 by dint of Sudoku. Apparently that's become a 9. Well, that means that's a 1, and now I can get the colours of these. Sorry, it's quite clear that this was not. I should have been looking at this, shouldn't I? Because this seems to be clearing up this instantly. Okay, so this is 7 and 1. So I want to say they're both doubled. That seems to be the implication of that. So these two both become green. I've got to avoid a checkerboard. I've got to avoid a 2 by 2. There's definitely a 3 in this domino. Right, let's come back to the 49 cage then. The 49 cage, these have a value of 40, which means undoubled, they have a value of 20, and they don't involve 9, so they have to be 5, 7 and 8. And actually I can just fill them all in. That's got to be 8, that's got to be 7, that's got to be 5. That's quite beautiful. That's 6 by Sudoku, that's 6 by Sudoku. So this is going a little bit better all of a sudden. These squares are now 4, 6 and 9. That's not 9, and that's not 6. I feel like we might be able to do better than that. The other thing I'm noticing about this puzzle is it has a lovely flow. How long have I had? 37 minutes. That has flown by. So 3, 4, 6, 8. There's a 6 in one of these squares by Sudoku. 6 in the 12 cage. It couldn't be doubled. That would then be green. So these squares would have a value of 6. Don't know whether that's possible or not. 1 is it? Oh, 1 might be difficult. Can we put 1? We can't put 1 there. It's got the wrong parity. Well, this would have to be have value of 11, which obviously doesn't work. So, if this is a 1, it has to be doubled then. No, that doesn't work. You can't put 1 in this 12 cage. It just doesn't work. It never gets big enough, even if the 1 is doubled. It's because this can't be double 5. So 1 is here in this other 12 cage. Now, if this was grey, we'd get 2 greens there. That would then be a 12. That would have to be 5, 7. Because it couldn't be 3, 9 or 6, 8. Or sorry, a 4 or 4, 8. So if that's green, this is 5, 7, which would make those 8, 2. And these 4, 6. And these 3, 8. Oh, probably works. I'm not sure. Let's see if that's green. What about then if this is grey? If this is grey, then that has to be even, and it couldn't be 4 or 6, so that would be 2 or 4. 4 doesn't work if this is grey, because that's got that. We've looked at that already. 4 needs double 4 below it. So 2. No, it's beautiful. Doesn't work. If this is grey, because this has to be an even digit, because this is contributing an even value towards the 12, this will be even. Can't be 6 or 8, so it's 2 or 4. Now, if it's 4, this is 4 by maths, so that doesn't work. If it's 2, look what happens. This is 5 to make the maths work, and that square's now impossible to fill. That feels deliberate to me on the constructors, you know, in terms of what the constructor had in mind. So this is now, right, so this is now 5, 7, because that's the only way we can make 2 digits add up to 12 if we don't use 8 and 9. So this square's 8, that's 7, that's 2, that's 5. This is 4, 6, which is the thing we were looking at before. Those 2 digits are now the same in terms of, maybe I'll give that a little tweak of colour just to try and fix that in my brain. Just by Sudoku, obviously that digit has to go there now in box 6. Right, now hang on. So these squares are 2, 4 and 9. So these squares are 3 and 8. Okay. That square is grey by dint of avoiding a 2 by 2. And now we can say that, I don't know what we can say about that. We can probably say something. It looks like our patented technique is going to require this to be grey, and then we'll know this is odd. And it will be 5 or 9, which looks possible, doesn't it? Okay, sorry, I'm not seeing the obvious next step. What do I have to do here? I've got to get these pools of, these puddles of grey, literally puddles. They do look a bit like dirty puddles, don't they? These puddles have to get out of this top right region of the grid. So well, exactly one of these is grey, therefore, because they can't both be grey without creating a 2 by 2. So one of these is grey. If that's grey, that's going to be difficult, isn't it? Because that would have to be doubled 4, which would have a value of 8. So these would have to have a value of 4. And this would have a value of 1 because it would be green. So this would have a value of 3 and would have to be green. So this would be double green. And then that would be grey. And no, that's the thing I thought was going to even happen. So that's probably right. So how did I arrive at that conclusion? I made this grey. If this is grey, then this is green. These add up to an even number, so this is even. But is it... If that's grey and that's green, that is also grey, actually. So this is double grey, and this is green. So if that's green, it might have a value of 6. This would have to have a value. It couldn't be a 1-2 pair. That wouldn't work. If that's a value of 4, these have to have a value of 8. So this would be a 1-3. Isn't that what? I'm not entirely. I think I've just gone round in a circle. I seem to get the same values there, whatever I did, which makes me think I've tested the same thing twice. I'm sorry if that's what I've just done. Is there something easier? 1, 3, 4, 9. That's okay. That digit is 3, 4, or 9. Maybe this is a better way to think about it. That can't be 9, because these are at least worth 10, and that can't be only worth 2. So that's not 9. Okay, so this digit maybe is where we were meant to look. So, okay, if my logic before was right, this cannot be a 4. So let's think about that. If that's a 4, this is a 6. And these have an oh no, but hang on, that could work. 4, 6, if that's doubled, it would work, wouldn't it? Is my maths gone? These would both be green. No, it doesn't work by checkerboard. Good grief. Yeah. If this is grey... Sorry. If this is 4, let's start there. If this is 4, what colour is it? Well, I think it's clear it can't be grey. because it would be worth 8, and these are going to be too big. So it has to be green. This is a 6 now. That obviously can't be doubled, so that has to be green. And now this, the maths works if this is grey, but I get a checkerboard pattern. So perhaps when I was looking at this and thinking this had to be 1, 3, maybe that was right. Maybe it is always 1, 3, but you don't always know the colours of it. I'm not sure. 3 I can place in box 1 now. That's good. Okay, so I don't have a 3 in the corner. I mean, that's not good. But if that's not 3, this can't be 8, because then that maths won't work anymore. 3 is in one of those 3 squares. Do you have to... Oh no. Okay, that's not true, what I was about to say. I was about to say, do you have to get the puddles of grey in the top left, right, out through here? But I'd neglected the fact they could have come through there. If they come through there, then that's doubled, which is probably fine. No, that would then be odd, wouldn't it? Oh, that would be beautiful. Oh, that is beautiful. Right. Okay, forget everything I've been doing up here. This is the next step. This was the intended next step, because this is gorgeous. Right, the thing we should have done is to say, how do you get grey out of the top left of the top right of the grid? Now, at first glance, it could come through here, couldn't it? Well, it can't, because if that's grey, we can use the trick we've learned throughout the puzzle, which is this is now... It's definitely got to be an undoubled digit to make the parity work, and it has to be odd. Well, it can't be 5, 7, or 9, or 3, so it now has to be 1 with a doubled 5, and that cannot be. So this square actually cannot be grey. It's actually green, and we've got to avoid a checkerboard, and we've got to avoid a checkerboard. And now the only way to get the puddles of grey out of the top right is through that little passageway, which means I've got 2 thingies there, and well, it's got to continue out as well, and then now that's got to be green, that's got to be grey, that's got to be green, that's got to be grey. Avoid a checkerboard. This has to get out, so those are both green, and all of a sudden we've nearly shaded the puzzle. This is great now. So what's this? Right, yes, this is not 3, 8 or 4, 7, and it can't have a 5 in it. So it's 2, 9, and we know the order, which is rather beautiful. Now that's 2, 3, that's 3, 8, that's 3 by Sudoku. No, what I was about to say was nonsense, so I'm not going to say it. What about this square? 4 or 6? What about... Oh, this has to get out, but it could come through here. I can't quite see how to make this work. It might be that we have to investigate the 12 cage again. 4, 9, 1, 4, 9. These are from 1, 4, 9. Oh, bobbins, I don't know. What about... I mean, where am I meant to look? Oh, it's not this, is it? It's not the 19 cage. Is that somehow restricted? I could believe it. Yeah, it's the same point again, Simon. When will you learn? It's like the importance of being earnest. Oh, to miss the deduction once is, I don't know, strikes one as carelessness. Anyway, look, those add up to an even number, or have a value of an even number, because they're both doubled. So that has to be, you've guessed it, odd. Lovely. Right, so that's not 9 now. That's not 9 in the corner either. So that's come right down. That's 1, which would have to go with double 9, or 5, which would have to go with double 7. So that's not 5 anymore. And these 2 digits now have a value. Ah, they have a value. Well, they have an undoubled value of 5, because we take 9 from 19, we get 10. So these two squares, undoubled, have to have a value of 5. So this is 3 or 1, it's not 3. Right, so this is 4, this is 1, this is 2. Maverick is about to fly past. This is a 9, so that's a 7. 7 and doubled, so that goes with 5. Hello, Maverick. How are you? You're a bit late today. Okay. So that's probably very useful. That's doubled 9 contributing to the 35. That 1 here gives me another 1 there and a 7 here. In this column we haven't had 5, 6 or 8. So the 5 has to go there. These are a 6, 8 pair. So I've got a 6, 8 pair in row 3 out of nowhere. 1, 4, 6. Where's 1 in row 5? The answer is there. This is now 4 or a 6, unless I've messed up my Sudoku somehow. So these squares are 7 and 8. So that's 8 and that's 9. And now that digit seems to have to be a 4. How does this get resolved? And what are these two digits? 2 and 9. Oh, 2 and 9. Okay. So 2 goes here. This digit. Okay, I'm not going to get fooled again. That digit's even. So how do we make the parity work for this 35 cage? That digit has to contribute an odd value. So the only way that works is if it's green. Now this puddle has to get out. So let's get the puddle out. Oh, look, it's going to be some ambiguity about this. This is an odd number, isn't it? So it's 5 or 7. So there might be mathematics we can do here, because we've got 22 of value contributed by the 9 and the 2 getting doubled. So we need 13 more of value, which works 2 ways round, doesn't it? 5, 8, 7, 6, both of them work. Bother. Okay. Okay, but where is 7 in this row? It's not there. So that's 7, that has to go with 6, which means that's 6, that's 8, that's 8, that's 6. 9 goes with 4 here, so that's 4, that's 6, that's 4, that's 6. We could be on the right track now. It looks like it's slowly yielding its secrets to us. 9, 5. 5 goes here. These are 4 and 8. We've done the Sudoku. We just have to check the maths. So the maths is going to be resolved here, isn't it? Okay. So this is contributing 6. So that can't be doubled. And now that has to be doubled to make the maths work. And that, I think, let's get rid of the purple or the pink now. Just double click that. That looks fine. Double click that. That looks fine. If the Sudoku's right, I'm confident. Yes. Yes, that is absolutely lovely. Wow. Yin Doubles Yang by Damo89 or Damo89 is a beautiful puzzle. It's a lesson in parity, isn't it? It's the sort of thing that I imagine, you know, if I was sort of a 14, 15-year-old boy at school and my teacher had given me this to do, I'd really enjoyed it. I would have really enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed it as a slightly older person as well. But the fact it sort of teaches you something very naturally about the nature of numbers is, I think, rather lovely. Let me know in the comments how you got on with the puzzle. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.